Hey everybody, and welcome to this week's garden video. A little bit shorter this week, there's not a lot going on, but I thought I'd just come on camera and say hi. And for those of you who have found my page, thank you. I really just started this as a way to sort of document what's happening in my vegetable garden so that I don't forget, because I don't even remember what I had for breakfast. So this is sort of serving as a diary, but for those of you who are interested in following my journey as I plant things out and see what happens in the garden, welcome and enjoy, and let's get to this week's video. As I do every week, I kind of film stuff sequentially and I just put it in order here sequentially. So at the beginning of the week, here was a look at my greenhouse and what my seedlings were doing. This is all of my beets. They're doing great. I plant a ton of them. I have some onions which have germinated there, but nothing really else going on here. I have a couple trays of things that haven't germinated yet. I'm not worried about it. I just planted them last week and they take a little while to germinate. These are my cauliflower. They're doing great. I lost a couple, but that's okay. I always expect to lose a couple. And then some lettuces I started out, and then you're going to see a couple things I have on the heat mat trying to get germinated as well. But at the beginning part of the week, I didn't really expect to see much because these are really newly planted seedlings. What I did notice is that the plum has blossomed. It's beautiful. We've had a very mild winter, so it feels early. I hope we don't have any hard freezes that come along and upset the blossoms, but that is happening. And also we have the grape is starting to bud out, which is also very exciting. And then once I realized that Rosa was laying eggs, I went to go check on her just to see if there was an egg there. I did not realize she was in there at the time, so I came back a little bit later. I think she's done laying eggs. We leave a golf ball in there just because in the past they didn't know where to lay, and we thought that would help them. Not sure if it helps or not, but that's why the golf ball's there. But here's just a look at the garden. So in the foreground you see some thyme growing and some garlic, and you see the beets and some infrastructure I have. And at this point in time there's not a lot going on in the actual ground in the garden, but I did want to take a quick overview of this because this for me is helpful just to remember in the years to come kind of what the status was of my garden. The garlic is doing great, and you see some raspberries kind of in the foreground, a little bit too in my mint. And then my pig kept making noises, so I thought I would show you one of my pigs. This is Astro coming over to say hi. Hi, bud. Hi. And like I said, not a lot happened, so jump forward to today. And this is the status of a couple of the seedlings in the greenhouse. I just checked on them. Some of them are starting to emerge, which is great, but everything else looked the same in the greenhouse. This is my rhubarb starting to look really nice. And here you see my lettuces. They're kind of hard to see because some of them are red lettuces, so they blend into the dirt. But I did lose a couple, which I expected, and I think I showed that a couple weeks ago. But a lot of them are doing great, and I have started more to fill in where I've lost some. And then the other thing that's growing in, and really the last thing that's growing that I planted this season so far, are the peas, and they're coming up and they're looking great. I did have a little bit of insect or bug damage. I'm not really sure what happened here. Maybe it was wind. We've had some high winds. Knocked off one of the tops, but I'm not so worried about that. But really, that's all that's happening this week, so I thought I'd just leave you with a view from my snowshoe this week up at Hurricane Ridge.